Hi, my name's Stephanie Risley, and I do past life regressions. I help people heal from many disorders: fear of driving, fear of flying, all kinds of anxiety disorders, phobias, that kind of thing. The One of the most interesting parts about doing these past life regressions is the notion of race. I work with a lot of African American people, not to mention African people. Los Angeles is the most amazing place in the world. We have people from all over the world. And what's interesting about my Indian clients is that usually they're Americans in their past life. But I had a beautiful African American client who was a very talented private cook, and she could not drive. Especially couldn't drive in the canyons, in anything that was a mountain road. And when we went back in time, she was stunned. She said, "Oh my God." I said, "Look at your feet." She said, "I see my feet. I'm in a truck. I'm a good old boy. I'm a redneck. And I have a bat in the car." I said, "Well, what are you doing in your truck?" She said, this was once again somebody who had a fear of driving. She said, "I'm looking for black people to beat up." And she understood why in this lifetime she needed to come back as a black person, to see what it would feel like not to be a good old boy from the South. We all go back and forth. In one of my favorite past lives, when I was studying with Brian Weiss, we did past life after past life after past life. And one day I thought, well, I had been a German doctor, and I had been an Italian scientist, I'd been this, I'd been that. I thought, and I had been a slave in the United States in the early 1700s. And I thought, what was my proudest past life? And that was my proudest past life, because in that lifetime, which I can still feel and see, I made it through the Middle Passage. I was the daughter of a medicine man in Africa, and as I say, the Middle Passage, I still have memory of that. And when I got here, because I was trained, I was respected by the other slaves, and I was a healer. I'm usually a healer. And so I was brought into the house, and I was young enough so that I learned English, and I had 3 sons, a wonderful husband, and 2 daughters. And the plantation came onto hard times. And so they had to sell my husband and 2 sons. One of my daughters killed herself, and actually she is a client of mine. I just realized that. That was another weird thing. But when the owner of the plantation asked me to heal her 7-year-old son who was sick, I refused. I said, "You've sold away my husband and my sons, and you expect me to heal your son?" And I just turned and walked. And she could have had me killed, of course, but she didn't. She came and she said, "What do you want?" And I said, "I want my freedom. I want the freedom for me and my 2 girls." And she said, "Done." And she gave us our freedom. And I remember thinking, and we moved to Baltimore. And when I did the research, there was an entire colony of a community of freed slaves in Baltimore around that time. So you never know. Anyway, if you are black and you want to get over your own racial prejudice, come and do a past life regression. If you are Chinese, you will see yourself as an American. If you're an American, you might see yourself as an African. We are all one, and that's what this work teaches. So come, give me a call if you want to work with me. Thanks.